You are now tuned into Convos with Cole.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of Convos with Cole. This is your host, Wendell Cole. Now, if you know me, you know I am a person that loves calisthenics. I'm very into it. Calisthenics is a form of exercise where basically use your body weight. So you're doing a lot of push-ups, pull-ups, dips, and once you get more advanced, there's a lot more moves you can do: muscle-ups, flags, etc., etc. And if you're into calisthenics or know anything about it, you have probably heard of the name Barstarzz, which is why I was so excited to interview my next guest. His name is Eduard Checo. He is the founder of the Barstarzz Calisthenics movement, which is now internationally known. They've racked up over 150 million views on YouTube. They've created a social media community of over 1 million people. Barstarzz has been featured on Men's Fitness, Forbes, CNN, Business Insider, America's Got Talent, and many, many more media outlets. They actually have a Barstarzz-BTX program, which is out right now, which I actually purchased right after we did the interview. It's been about a month or so, and I've been doing it, and I've actually been seeing results. Now, this is not a paid sponsorship. I just simply like the product, and so I suggest you guys go check it out if you are interested in calisthenics or interested in just getting into great shape. And so in this interview, here we kind of talk about Ed, and we talk about his story and how he turned his passion into a full-time business. Like, imagine that, doing exactly what you want to do and getting paid to do that. I know it's a dream for many of us, but there are people out here that are actually doing that. And with that, we also give you some tips on how to get ripped. I'm talking about ripped and strong. And how to get your first pull-up, your first muscle-up, your first push-up, and really how to elevate yourself to the next level. So, guys, without further ado, I hope you enjoy my interview with Ed just as much as I enjoyed interviewing him and was really excited for it. Ed, man, how is it going? I want to say thank you for coming on the show and agreeing to, come and talk and kind of share your story and, where you came from and talk about Barstarzz, man. I'm really excited, man. So first off, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah, man. I've been a big fan of Barstarzz for a while now. Actually, back since I was in high school. Actually, when you first started it, back in 2009. So I've been silently following this whole time, man, and definitely rooting for you. So it's glad to finally have a conversation with you.
Yo, that's dope. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course, man. So if you could, for the people who may not exactly know who you are right now or know who Barstarzz is, can you kind of just give us a little bit of a background of, who Ed is, where you're from, and kind of like a little overview of what Barstarzz is?
Yeah, totally. So my name's Eduard. I started calisthenics when I was a toddler at 10 years old. I seen my older brother would come back from the gym and he would hit push-ups at home, and I wanted to get into that. I learned how much a gym costs, and back in the day it was like $90, and you had to be locked into a contract, and you don't have that money as like a 10, 11-year-old. So I just started doing push-ups in my house and squats and different bodyweight exercises. And as I got older, I learned more movements from different people that I would meet, and I just learned how to make it more difficult instead of adding weight by changing your body's leverage and the way you did a particular move. Around 2009, I got interested in YouTube. I seen how calisthenics was growing, and this YouTube channel could like put you on the map.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to start a YouTube channel. I bought a camera. I bought some editing software, and I tried my hardest to learn both of them. And I started recording myself at the park with my friends. And through that, I started a company called Barstarzz, which all these years later now sells digital content. As far as a workout plan, we make weekly videos on YouTube and daily content on Facebook and Instagram. And we sell clothes and resistance bands. And I do workshops. And it's grown. It's pretty much global now.
Yeah, man. I've seen that. You mentioned your brother being one of the people that kind of sparked your interest or kind of was one of your influences. Do you have any other influences or people that you know definitely inspired you to go into fitness?
My brother was the biggest one of going into fitness, I would say. As I got older and I got into like more hardcore calisthenics, Giant from the Bartenders and Hannibal for King were definitely influences on how I train calisthenics.
Yeah.
Actually, I met one kid at 15 years old, and he was ripped. And he showed me how to do pull-ups, and that was a big part. You know, a long road and a bunch of bumps of motivation and inspiration along the way.
Yeah, little things that just kept you going.
Exactly.
Man, and okay, so let's rewind. For the people that are listening to this that might not know exactly what calisthenics is, what is calisthenics? Just at the bare minimum.
Calisthenics is working out with your body weight. It's exercises you can pretty much do anywhere. The most equipment you probably need is a pull-up bar.
Yeah. And so the birth of Barstarzz, let's kind of go back to that moment. Where did you envision Barstarzz going? Were you just like, you know, this is something I like? Because it was your is it safe to say that working out was your passion, or, you know, exercising was your passion at that time, and you kind of turned it into a business? Or what was calisthenics to you before or at the moment where you decided, hey, let me go get a camera and start recording myself and now make Barstarzz? Yeah,
it was definitely a passion for me. I would do calisthenics almost every day. It was at the time probably like one of the few positive extracurricular activities I had. You know, instead of hanging out, I would go to the park and try to work on my human flag or my muscle up and try to get better at it. And through that, I was thinking of different ways of how I could make this a career. You know, so many people that just hate their jobs, and I had some pretty shitty jobs in my life, and I was just like, I don't really want that. You know, I want to see how I can make an income from this and also helping people. And that was the idea behind Barstarzz.
And this is back in the day, man, because I remember YouTube, it wasn't as big as it is now back in like 09, 08, or, you know, 10. Like, it was not everybody really knew about it. It was still kind of on the up and coming. And did you have this vision of, you know, YouTube blowing up, or you making it to now over almost 150 million views on YouTube?
Yeah, no, I definitely did not have that vision. I mean, like our first couple of videos was averaging 5-6K views, and I used to be pretty excited with that.
Yeah.
I always looked at it as like just a niche, you know, like it was just going to be this small, slender audience of people that are into this one thing. And fortunately, then it's still a niche, but the niche grew so big that it accumulates so many hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah. And so how did you come up with the name Barstarzz? Was there a meaning behind it, or you just like, hey, this is what we do?
It's funny. I had set a deadline, and I was like, I have to come up with a name before that. And, you go through everything. You try to just sit there and be as creative as you can. That deadline came, and I didn't have nothing, so Barstarzz was it. I was like, today's not going to end without the name being picked, and I chose Barstarzz. I feel like stars is something everyone aims for, and then the bar as for the bar in calisthenics.
Yeah. And so now, how what do you think played a part in it growing to be such a global thing now?
I think the fact that it was very unique, and that there was videos like kind of walking you, like it was very warm welcoming through the internet. As warm welcoming as you could be through the internet. So it'd be like, hey guys, you want to learn how to do more pull-ups, do this, or you want to do this, do that, and I try to break it down video by video. And I think somewhere, if you're in like Bulgaria or like South Africa, you could look at that video and be like, okay, I could do what this guy's doing, and it's something cool not everyone's doing, and he has a bunch of videos on how to do it, so why not?
Yeah, were you starting to get messages from people like that you didn't even know, starting to say like, hey, you know, I was watching your videos and you changed my life? Or like, were you starting to get messages from other people that kind of inspired you along the way? Yeah,
I definitely started getting a lot of success stories and And unfortunately, I got to meet a lot of these people. Like I have a friend in New York. His name is Jem, and he fell 7 stories, and like was in the hospital for months. And he said he stumbled onto a Barstarzz video, and that helped inspire him to get back into shape following his injury. Another guy in South Carolina, he got into a car crash, went flying through the front window. And again, same story. He was in the hospital bed. He came across calisthenic videos from Barstarzz, and he goes, "Okay, I want to start training this." And that's the case. I've heard that from many people, and it's really dope to know that you can have that kind of impact from my local park with a camera.
Yeah. Now, were they just in the hospital? They just start cranking out push-ups on the hospital bed, or pull-ups, or what do they do?
Yeah, I gotta revisit their stories to know. I know there's a YouTube video on each one of them.
Yeah,
but I don't want to say it off the top of my memory.
Yeah, I understand. And so was it just pretty much you were just doing just videos, and you didn't really have any other medium as how Barstarzz grew? Like, was it just solely videos that you were using, or were you kind of doing other things as well?
I tried to do a little bit of everything. I was limited by, I didn't have no professional marketing expertise or anything. So YouTube was probably the biggest part, was making videos on YouTube. And then my cousin told me what Facebook was. I was like that computer illiterate, so I didn't know what Facebook was at the time. Man, and she created a fan page for me, and I just started posting on there. And we would go to different charity events and offer to perform for free, or try to visit as many different parks as we can, like all like branded with our T-shirts, and go to different gyms with guest passes, and try to do catch people's attention. Definitely not the best way though, because you meet people at smaller numbers than you would with a video. But I felt like anything you did helped, especially for getting the name out.
Wow. Okay. And so, what was kind of like the daily grind? What did that look like for you? Like how did you feel when you started to hit numbers like 100,000, and then when you hit the first million? How'd that feel?
I felt great, but I think you always gotta stay hungry, So I've had some time to look back and be appreciative, but in the moment, I'm usually just looking at what's next. What's the next thing I could do? Okay, this video hit 1 million. All right, now I have to get another 1 million, or how could I do this so I keep getting 1 million?
Yeah, that constant hunger. So, I mean, what's the next goal? You going for 1 billion? What are you trying to do next?
I wish. Yeah, I guess that's the end goal, because I don't see myself stopping making videos for any time soon. So hopefully I get to 1 billion. Yeah, right now I'm just working on making more YouTube videos and trying to bring them higher quality as far as the way it's filmed and the way it's edited.
Did you? Because you mentioned you didn't take any like marketing classes or anything. At this point, had you taken any marketing classes or anything else, or are you just still strictly just going out with just pure content?
I'm learning through trial and error, So I've never taken any formal classes, but I watch YouTube videos, I listen to podcasts, I try to network with the people that are where I want to be, or experts in the field I want to learn about, and I try to implement all of that into what I do.
And so, what impact has calisthenics had on your life?
It made exercising super fun for me. So I did like a year at the gym, like just bodybuilding style training. Mm-hmm. And I remember just not being happy about it. It was like such a chore. It's like a cup of caffeine as opposed to just having a bland dinner. And I feel like that's what calisthenics helped me do. Along with the psychological part of helping me focus. When I wasn't into calisthenics that hard, I was like still wandering in life. And through calisthenics, it gave me it centered my whole life. Even now, like I have bad work days if I don't work out first. Yeah. So I try to work out at the beginning of every day, and then I sit down and get into the grind.
So it helps you be more focused. And so what was the difference, I guess you would say, from when you're using weights in the gym to when you're using calisthenics, or when you're using your own body weight?
I think there's just so many differences. It might take a little while, but one thing is if you're increasing your strength in the gym with the weight, you could just simply go up a weight. With calisthenics, you get to envision different positions for your body using leverage to make the movement much harder. As well as through calisthenics, you're learning a skill and multiple skills as you're going up the progressive overload. Whereas with weights, you're just, you're doing the same movement in the same position, just going heavier and heavier. I feel like calisthenics also burns more calories overall because most of the movements are full body and you're moving your body through range of motion. Whereas in weights, you're pretty stationary if you're like doing bicep curls or like a shoulder press. Yeah, I just love calisthenics that much. And also, like, if I ever went really heavy on the weights, I kind of feel it in my joints. Not that you don't feel it in calisthenics. I know people that do, but the pain is completely different. Like, from, like, really lifting heavy, it's a very vicious pain. Whereas calisthenics, if my tendon never hurts, a couple days off, I'm right back at it.
Right. Have you had any injuries doing calisthenics yet?
Yes, I have. I've actually been battling this shoulder injury. I believe it's my labrum, but I can't tell for sure. And it put me away for maybe 3 months. And now I'm feeling much better. And I've learned different techniques to strengthen my shoulder as well as help rehab it. So I'm in a much better position now. And it's the only serious injury I think I've had in calisthenics.
Were you doing a particular move when you got this injury, or was it like after a couple of days you just kind of felt sore? Or did you know as soon as it happened that, something's wrong with my shoulder? Yeah,
it was a particular move. It was like a pull-up 180. Like you pull up and then you spin around and catch the bar.
And when you're coming back around?
Just by the way it looks, it's the move that looks like it could have been it. Whereas everything else I did that day was okay. I was on vacation in Thailand, and the Thailand newspaper found out I was there and wanted to interview me.
Nice. So
they did like a video interview as well. And during the video interview, they wanted me to do something, which makes obvious sense. But, this was like a almost 2-week vacation. It was like a weekend. So I was already like, eating whatever and not training. And they had me like on the set time. So I had to like warm up as fast as I can and get right to it. And I did the move. I did a whole set of different movements. And I felt okay that day. And then maybe 2 days later, I was go-kart. I went from Thailand to Dubai, and I was on go-karts. And I did a hard turn, and I just felt like the weirdest, sharpest pain in my shoulder. And to be honest, I probably would have been okay. But what happened from there is I ended up going to Germany for this competition called King of the Bar, or it's Fitness Expo, FIBO. Mm-hmm. And I stayed at my friend's house in Germany for a month. And I just decided to ignore the pain. I felt the pain. Whenever I trained, I felt the pain. But I felt like I was under obligation, I was supposed to do something at the expo, so I had to train. And then just one day, I went from doing 3 muscle-ups to the next day not being able to do a pull-up.
Man. Oh, yeah. That sucks. Like, that messes with your... well, I'm going to ask you, did it mess with your mentality where you're like, man, like, I'm finding a Barstarzz. I need to be out here doing stuff. Now I can't even do a pull-up. Like, man. Did it kind of mess with your mentality at all?
Yeah, it's super depressing, and you never really know what that kind of injury is until you have it, So I tell people now, like, hey, watch out, be careful. But of course, no one's gonna listen to me because I didn't listen to anyone. I thought you think you're invincible, And then just one day I woke up and I just couldn't do a pull up, and a week passed and then nothing changed. I still couldn't do one pull up. So it's super scary to think that something that you're really in love with is just over for life, possibly. And it happens to people on a regular basis. If you watch football players, MMA fighters. Like you get into this, you could get this one injury that's just going to put you off forever.
So what were you doing in between that time?
Definitely depressed. I don't really remember now. To be honest, I opened the gym in Miami, and I think it was around the same time, so I was more focusing on that. I don't really remember. I definitely stayed busy, and I stayed away from working out. So I always try to stay productive. I would incorporate more cardio instead of strength training.
And in the gyms that you have, is it basically more like pull-up bars, or what do you have in the gym? So you say you open up. Well, how many gyms do you have?
No, I have none now. I had one in Miami, but it was doing well, but it was more of an argument among the partners.
Right.
Too many chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah. Too many hands in the pot.
Yeah. So, but the gym was pretty cool. It had pull-up bars. It was mostly calisthenics, but there was a dumbbell section just to give people the option. Yeah, it was dope.
And man, you sound well traveled. Like you kind of just blew over the fact that you went to like Dubai and Germany and Thailand. Where have you been, man? Like, are these all places where you're going for, where you're being flying out for like expos, or are you just traveling just for fun?
It's both. So, I work a lot from traveling. So people will fly me out for workshops or, judging competitions, or at one point I was competing in competitions. And then, I need frequent vacations from my regular life, so I take whatever money I have and I go and have vacations maybe like 3 times a year.
Okay. And
I try to see different places and experience different things. Also, what's on sale, you know? You look at websites like Travel Pirates or the Flight Deal.
Yeah.
If something is just like too cheap to pass up, then why not, you know? Especially because my schedule and my job allows me to just leave when I want. So I usually look out for the deals and take advantage of it.
And do you do Barstarzz full time, or do you do something else as well?
No, Barstarzz is my full-time job.
Okay, cool. And can you kind of tell me the story about you getting flown out to Latvia?
Oh, Latvia.
Latvia. Oh man, I butchered that. But yes, Latvia. I completely butchered that.
Yeah, that's actually the first time I've ever went to Europe. I got contacted. They were hosting the World Street Workout Federation. Was hosting the first ever world championship, and they wanted representatives from every country. So they contacted me, or Barstarzz, let's say, to be the representative of the United States. And at the time, I didn't feel anywhere near the best, you know, because I trained with someone someone named Sick with it, and someone named Juan, and I felt like they're way talented, better than me. So I offered them the position to go, but of course they were worried, you know. You just get this random email and people are telling you they're gonna fly you out. So they didn't want to do it. So, and I didn't want to let the opportunity pass because it could have been huge. But I was also just as scared. So, but I was like, you know, I try to get as much confirmation as I can. I try to learn as much about the country because I've never heard of Latvia before this event.
Yeah.
It's a small country on the border of Russia. So eventually, yeah, I got the flight. I fly a very long and miserable flight with a layover to Poland. And I eventually get there, and I remember being so scared. I grabbed my bags, and I'm like, wow, I'm really about to walk on to this strange country all by myself. And I took the step. I just wish they could come get me a baggage claim, but they couldn't. So I took the step out, and I see 2 friendly faces, and they picked me up, and they were like, yeah, hey, how you been? And it looked pretty cool.
Were they people that you knew, like, that had also flown there for the event, or were they people in that country already?
The people that picked me up at the airport?
Yeah.
No, they're one of the guys was the email correspondence I was having with, and a guy I've never met before that time. And so when I finally got, they drove me to where the other athletes were, and by the time I got there, I recognized other athletes from their YouTube channel. YouTube used to have a much better platform, in my opinion, where it was like more like an actual social media where you engage with people.
Yeah.
So they were like my YouTube friends. So I felt way more comfortable when I got to see them.
Oh, that's nice, man. And I'm guessing the experience was a great experience.
Oh yeah, life changing. You know, being able to meet all these people, and it's one of the greatest experiences I've had in my life for sure. I got to compete in front of this huge crowd, and they were chanting my name, and yeah, it was a great experience. I liked it. I had a lot of fun.
Man, that's awesome, man. And so to this point, how far exactly has Barstarzz spread? Like, what countries are you in?
I think it's every country. You know, like I don't keep a database, but every other day I see being tagged in like Barstarzz Sicily or Barstarzz Panama, and it's too hard to say, but definitely many countries. They built a calisthenics setup on a beach in Bali, and they call it Barstarzz Bali, and there's a big Barstarzz sign. Yeah, it's
the same logo that you have.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's dope, man.
They just write awesome. Bali at the bottom. It's on my to-do list to travel there.
Man, yeah, I'm sure that'd be a dope trip, like a really fun trip. And I kind of want to switch gears a little bit Because the people listening, I'm sure they're going to want to know how can they get like just ripped doing calisthenics. So what would you suggest is the first step? Say somebody's listening to this, they haven't worked out in a while, they're a beginner, they haven't even gotten their first pull-up yet, and they're listening to this podcast, and they just, like, what can they do right now to go ahead and get them in the direction of, I'm getting fit, I want to get started with calisthenics, I want to do something, what can I do?
I think push-ups is the easiest and fastest way. And buying a home pull-up bar. That's my advice to anyone. If you're a beginner or an expert, I think a home pull-up bar gives you the means to practice on a completely regular basis with no excuse, whether it's raining, whether it's cold, whether you're tired that day. You can have a pull-up bar right in your kitchen. And I feel like having a pull-up bar accessible is what made me stronger and much better at calisthenics.
And for the push-up sets, do you normally do them like in pyramids? Like for example, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or are you doing like 3 sets of a certain amount of number, or you just keep going until you can't go anymore? What would you recommend? I
think you should have a very diverse routine. So I practice everything you mentioned. I practice max out sets. I practice pyramids. I practice small sets, a lot of reps. I practice a lot of reps. I practice a lot of sets, small reps. So I think pyramid's a good way to start if you're a beginner. It definitely helps you gauge your level. And also picking, there's a method called grease the groove, which I recommend to a lot of people who are trying to get their repetitions better. The idea is you do 40% of your maximum. So if your maximum is 10, you'll do 4. And you'll do that as often as you can throughout the day. So you never bring your body to failure, but you let your body and your mind practice the skill and the movement.
So many times throughout the day, they just do 4, like just standing around, 4 push-ups, and then just keep doing that as many times as you can.
Yeah, exactly. So 40% of your max. So assuming the most you could do is 10 and then you hit the floor, then do 4. If the most you could do is 20, then you hit the floor, then 8, and so on and so forth.
Oh man, that's not actually. I've actually never heard of that. That's something I might actually try. I like that. And for the person that has not gotten their first pull-up, they don't have the strength to do it right now, what steps of progression would you advise for them? How can they get their first pull-up?
I think if you have the home pull-up bar, you could just practice jumping negatives. So you'll grab the bar. I advise people to start with chin-up because it's easier. Have your palms facing you, hands shoulder width apart, and then you jump up as high as you can while holding the pull-up bar, and then just hold that position where your feet off the ground and really tense up your back muscles and come down as slow as possible and repeat that for 3 times. And then take a break and then get back to it until you get 3 sets. And once you get stronger, then you can start working on your full partial range chin-ups where you go halfway and then back. And then when you get stronger, you go into your full chin-up all the way up, all the way down. And if you want, you could also incorporate resistance bands. But I think resistance bands should be an accessory, and the main primary thing of what you're doing is the negative.
So the resistance band, can you describe how somebody would use a resistance band for the person that has no idea what you're talking about?
Yeah, so resistance bands are like these, think of huge rubber bands, just huge durable rubber bands. You fling them over the pull-up bar, you'll grab one end and pull it through the other end so you create this knot. Then you'll put your foot in, step so your leg fully extends, and you feel the tension from the band, and then you have your other leg cross over it. And what this does is the band kind of, like when you stretch a band and it wants to pull you back, you're stretching the band and the band pulls you back, this time pulling you to the pull-up bar. So it helps you. It's kind of like someone's imaginarily grabbing your feet and helping you do the pull-up.
Okay. And so the next step above that is the move almost everybody almost always wants to get once they've like mastered the pull-up is the muscle up. Like, how do you recommend people get their reps up or muscle up, or even do their first one? Because I remember when I did my first one, I think I was in Venice Beach, and I was trying, just failing, and then somebody like took out a camera. And he's like, "Oh, you got to get it now. It's a camera." And I somehow got it, and I was so excited. I was so happy that I got like my first muscle up. And I feel like it's just this milestone that once you hit that, you're like, okay, now I can start to, do more things or try to practice more moves. So how would you recommend somebody start their first muscle up?
That's probably the most popular question of all time.
You knew you were going to get asked it.
Yeah. I think you have to really practice the technique if you're strong enough. But if you're not strong enough, then you should work on the exercises as well. One of the exercises being pull-ups. You have to be able to pull up to the bar almost effortlessly. If you're still struggling on doing, let's say, 10 pull-ups, then you're not ready to learn the muscle-up. And it's the sad truth that people don't want to hear, but it's the truth nonetheless. You should work on your pull-ups so you're able to get 10, a very comfortable 10. So you did 10 and you got off the bar and you look okay. You didn't look like you just got killed. Then from there, you could also incorporate jumping muscle-ups, so it's where you grab a low bar, hand, shoulder width apart, you squat down with your feet on the ground, and then you pull and jump. So you're mimicking the muscle-up by using your legs to help you, kind of like an assisted muscle-up.
Yeah.
And it helps you learn the technique, as well as a negative muscle-up. So you're at the top of the bar. You could use a jumping muscle-up to get there, or you could just have a friend give you a boost. And you do the opposite version of a muscle-up as slow as possible. So you'll dip down. It's like a straight bar dip. And then you slowly transition into the pull-up and then come all the way down. Okay. Once you got those exercises and you feel really comfortable, you can start working on technique, which is a slight swing so that your body goes forward and behind the bar, and your complete body goes forward. Not like a CrossFit kick where your shoulders still stay under the bar, but your legs move.
Yeah.
You want to get your whole body in front of the bar and then behind the bar, kind of like a swinging axe, if you want to think of that. And then at the highest point of your weight back, you're going to bring your knees to your chest, kick out, and pull. And that's what's going to get you the muscle up. So don't think of a pull-up where you're going straight up and down. You got to think of that curve. A pull-up, you're doing like the letter L. And for a muscle-up, you're doing like the letter C. You're curving around the bar.
Okay. And what would you say is the next move after you get a muscle-up that you should try? Or that you would like recommend? You're like, okay, you can do 5 muscle-ups in a row. What's the next level thing?
I think a back lever and maybe a human flag are two really visually appealing moves and not that hard to do. I think they're both, I wouldn't rate them somewhere in the easy level. And I think if you're able to do muscle-ups, you already have the beginning strength to start learning those movements.
It's really, like, I've been able to do muscle-ups for a while, but I have not gotten a back lever yet. Maybe you can shed some knowledge onto this area, but how do you do a back lever then? I know there's videos that, you know, so I'll put in the links that link to your content, but for the people that are listening that might be driving or etc., how can they do that?
Yeah, so the back lever is first you have to take it off your mind that it's a difficult movement. It's level A in gymnastics, which means it's the easiest in gymnastics. And from personal experience, it's one of the first moves I learned when I started getting into freestyle calisthenics.
Let's kind of I just want to do a really quick rewind and just kind of explain to somebody, just so they can like picture in their head what a back lever looks like.
Yeah, so a back lever is like you have your hands inverted and you're sticking your legs out. So kind of like your butt is facing the pull-up bar, your whole body is off the ground and your body is straight. And people relate it to looking like Iron Man, like you're flying through the air.
Yeah.
And the way you would practice it is definitely the tuck progressions. So it's like having your knees. So you want to grab the bar, hand, shoulder width apart. You know, bring your knees to your chest and slowly roll back and really get comfortable with that. Little kids do it all the time, but as you become an adult, it looks scary. I could assure you your shoulders could definitely take it. It's what your shoulders are meant to do. And once you get comfortable rolling back, then you can start working on what's called the tuck back lever, which is having your head and your butt aligned, kind of like if they're on the same level, with your knees to your chest. Now, as you get stronger, let's say you're able to hold that for 30 seconds, you can start increasing your legs coming out. So the next level would be advanced tuck back lever, which you release your knees from your chest and kind of align them with your waist, and you stick your feet out just a little bit. So it becomes harder than the tuck, but not as hard as the full back lever. Next one after that is alternating legs. So you have one leg tucked in and the other one fully extended. And then after that would be the straddle, where you have both your legs open like a split.
Yeah.
And then the last and final step will be the full back lever. So you can just keep practicing those until you're able to hold each one for 30 seconds, and then you move on to the more difficult one. Another technique is also like starting really high in the back lever. So same exact thing what a back lever would look like, and then you slowly drop down. It's kind of like a negative.
Okay, I see. I know what you're talking about. And so for like a lot of these exercises, you need like a crazy amount of core strength, right?
I don't even know if I would say the word crazy amount. You definitely need some core, and I think if you're coming from a weightlifting background where you're not really used to full body exercises, then it's going to be really challenging.
Yeah.
But if you've had a full body training in your past and you have a lot of the stabilizers already built up, it's going to be really rare. I think even I've never seen that someone gets a back lever the same day they went for it. But it's realistic that you could get a back lever in the first month if you practice for it really hard.
Yeah, because just to quickly touch on something you just said, as far as people that just like in the gym or doing weights or kind of just going in one direction. Like I know, like for example, people that just do bench press. Like I know a lot of people that can bench press like 300 plus pounds, but they can't do like 5 pull-ups, and it's interesting, just to see how you can be so strong in one thing but weak in others, and like how calisthenics can help bring everything together, kind of like what you're saying.
Yeah, it's also a little embarrassing because a pull-up looks way easier than, say, bench pressing 300 pounds,
Yeah.
Like imagine just seeing someone knock out like just humongous weight, bench press, and then they go to a pull-up and they can barely knock out 5 pull-ups. It's almost like contradictory.
Yeah, I know, and I've seen some of your videos on your Instagram, and I mean, you're crazy strong, man. I've seen you do almost like plank push-ups, and then like transfer into a handstand and do a handstand push-up, and then come back down. Like how long did it take you to do those? Like to do the handstand push-ups, just to get that crazy amount of I guess maybe strength and agility or balance. Did you do balance workouts or balance exercises?
Depends. If I'm doing a handstand on the floor, I definitely need to work on my balance. And even to this day, I get by because I'm strong, but not so well when it comes to balance. So I still practice my balance where I kick up into handstand. And right now I kind of hold it in bad form, and I just kind of force it through the strength of my fingers and my shoulders. But I could use some help on the balance. The strength part, I practice a lot of handstand push-ups and specific exercises that target for the planche and for the handstand, like handstand push-ups against the wall, pike push-ups, leaning forward with hands on my waist push-ups, also known as pseudo push-ups.
Yeah.
Tuck planche push-ups and different planche holds. As far as how long it took me, every move took me a different amount. I definitely built up a really good foundation of the basic exercises. And then once I got those, I started learning skill by skill. Usually try to do one at a time, sometimes 2 at a time. But I don't try to go overboard. And then once I learn one, I try to have a firm foundation before I move on to the next one.
And some of the things that I always hear about when I speak about calisthenics is people say, well, you're kind of skipping leg day. You're not getting any leg workout in, or you got chicken legs. What are some things people can do to, like, first off, can I get your opinion on that? And then second, what are some things people can do to actually work out their legs using just their own body weight?
Yeah, I think it's just a common misconception, and it also makes for a great internet comment, Like you see someone hit some crazy one-arm pull-up, and it's like, shit, I can't really do that. What could I, How about your legs, though? What that has anything to do with the fact that I just showed you some strong-ass move, It's only like a way that people use to make their ego feel better, to have this, like, to have your ego just attacked by seeing some guy do a handstand push-up. You're like, you're searching for a reason why you can't do it, so you gotta attack his legs. I think, as most people know, calves are genetic, and even Arnold had complained and argued about how difficult it was to put muscle on his calves. So even if you're squatting 300 pounds, you could still have a very realistic calf problem or lower leg problem. Mm-hmm. When it comes to calisthenics, me personally, I focus a lot on plyometrics because I think jumping through the air and getting airtime is just a cool feeling of true power for me. So I do sprints. I also do jumping squats, jumping onto platforms, lunges, pistol squats, calf raises. It's pretty basic. It's not as I guess creative as my upper body workout or my core workout. But I think it's just because, not much you can really do with legs.
And for people that say that you can't get big or you can't like gain muscle, like you can only tone up using body weight, what are some things or some exercise, if you know of, that people can do to gain muscle, like bulk up?
I think you got to look at the people who do calisthenics. I'm bigger than most people at the gym, so you can't really say that about me. Even the guys that work out in the park, I think on average, most of us are bigger than most of the people at a commercial gym, not a hardcore powerlifting gym,
Yeah, not like that, yeah.
But like if you walk into a random commercial, let's say Bally's Total Fitness or Planet Fitness, the guys who I train with, we're all bigger than the average person that goes there. I think some of the biggest factors that come into gaining muscle is your diet, your calorie surplus, and also your volume. It's not the sets or reps that matter. It's the total work volume, like how many push-ups are you doing all together? How many pull-ups are you doing all together? And it helped me a lot for sure, because when I seen my most, I was knocking out 500. So I focus on the exercises that you're hitting every muscle in your body at least twice a week. Make sure you get a lot of volume, as much volume as your body could comfortably handle without getting injured or feeling destroyed. And eat at a calorie surplus, so you're eating more food than you're burning, so that you're gaining weight slowly but surely.
What does your diet look like?
I tried a lot of different diets, and right now I'm on flexible dieting, which is staying within my calories and tracking it using MyFitnessPal, a scale, and a measuring cup. And I try to get, most importantly, all my micronutrients in the morning. So I try to eat I have a big smoothie with kale, blueberries, rainbow chard, spinach, a lemon, and then some almond milk or coconut milk. And I try to, that kind of gets all my vitamin A, vitamin C, a lot of the vitamins and minerals out of the way first thing in the morning, because I feel like that's a real key to longevity.
Man, I hope they're taking notes. I hope they're taking notes. That sounded delicious, man. But go ahead, keep going.
And then the rest of the day, I focus on getting my protein intake. I try to get a gram per pound of body weight, which I never really get. It's so hard to get it. And I think it's also a little over-exaggerated, because I haven't noticed any muscle loss, and I haven't been getting that. But I try to get it through eggs and spinach and chicken, and sometimes I have a cheeseburger without the buns.
Yep, because of the carbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Okay. I just want to kind of switch gears, just ask a couple more questions, and then kind of wrap up here. So, where do you think the state of calisthenics is right now? When you look at calisthenics, what are some of the things that drive you crazy, if there are any, like CrossFit, et cetera, et cetera?
Not really sure how to answer that.
It's all good.
I'm not a fan of kipping pull-ups, and that's somehow got a bit popular, and I feel like it takes away all the basic principles of a pull-up, and it takes away the strength benefits of it and turns into some type of cardio workout, which I feel like there's much better and safer cardio workouts you could do. And yeah, that's about it. I'm more of an old school calisthenics fan. I feel like a lot of the new school calisthenics is more like acrobatics. I'm not a big acrobatic fan. I'm more of a fan of strength and creativity, as opposed to a lot of momentum based moves.
Okay. And so, what do the first 60 minutes of your day look like?
The first 60 minutes of my day?
Yeah. Besides, brushing your teeth, et cetera. Do you have any daily habits that you do in the morning when you wake up every day?
Yeah, that's funny, because I read the book by Tim Ferriss, Tools of Titan.
Yeah.
He emphasizes having a morning ritual. And I try to do different stuff, but meditating doesn't work for me. I go too crazy. But I start working on a veggie shake, As soon as I wake up, I do the regular brush your teeth and everything, and then I hit the kitchen and I start measuring out what I need to get my macronutrients in this shake. Try how much kale I need in there, how much spinach. I throw it all in. I'll blend it up. I probably put it in the fridge. Then I come back to my room and I watch. I'm a big fan of the news, so I watch the news. Okay. Until I feel like I'm ready to work out, and then it's definitely within the first 60 minutes of me waking up. But maybe I like to catch a couple videos, or if it's a quick email, I try to answer that. And then I go grab my shake, and then if it's like a really shitty day, I'll hit Planet Fitness. It's right by my house.
Yeah.
And if it's a nice day, then I go hit the park and I work out, bring myself to that point, and then I get back home and get ready to work, take a shower, and then look at my to-do list, which I hopefully filled out. If I'm running low on food, and then right after the workout, I'll stop by the supermarket and grab something.
All right, cool.
Gotta stay put on those veggies.
Yeah. So if you got $50 million today and you couldn't spend a dime of it on yourself, what would you do with the $50 million?
And I couldn't spend a dime on myself.
Yeah, can't spend any on yourself.
I think I would build a bunch of parks. I would make the sickest possible parks. I think at 50 million, I could probably spread them out to all the most needy neighborhoods of the world. And I think I've seen the power of what free exercise can do to people. And I think people would be surprised the impact it would have by giving people the access to free exercise.
Man, that's dope, man. Again, Ed, I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate the time. Hopefully people got some good tips out of here. Now, for the people that are listening to this, that kind of want to know a little bit more about you, want to follow you and Barstarzz, where can they reach you at? How can they learn more about you and more about Barstarzz, or even sign up for any of the programs or anything that you have going on? Thank you again for having me. You can check out Barstarzz-BTX.com. It's a full 12-week workout program you can sign up to, and we track your progress. You have a little avatar that lets you know how well you're doing. You get 200 pages of PDFs, talks about diet and exercise, as well as 200 videos explaining exactly how to do exercises and different workout routines. And my personal Instagram is @Barstarzz, EDBARSTARZZ. And there I post kind of about my personal life, but my personal life has a lot to do with exercise. So 90% of it has to do with working out. That's it. Thank you. Thank you guys for listening to episode 6 of Convos with Cole with Ed. I hope you guys are inspired to go get your first push-up, pull-up, muscle-up, whatever it is, in and go work out, action. And also, go to www.convoswithcole.com to check out the show notes. Of course, subscribe. And if you want to see some of the Barstarzz videos that he was talking about, go to www.convoswithcole. You will see a post that says Ed from Barstarzz. Click that and enjoy. Until next time.